Anyone who has been, in Manhattan in the last couple of years, if you've just looked up toward the sky and tilted your head toward Midtown, you would have seen this building, and it's quite tall. I think it has one of, if not the highest occupied floors in the city, or like at least for office buildings, something like that. And it has been in the works since 2018. And so finally now, employees started moving in August, and later this month they'll have the official ribbon cutting. And so that is this new tower to be the headquarters for JPMorgan, which is the biggest US bank. But along the way, they realized that they would need more space than just that. So they have 383 Madison, where it's right across the street from the new tower. And that has been their temporary headquarters. They got that building when they bought Bear Stearns during the financial crisis. And they have embarked on plans to completely remake that building, like inside and outside renovation. And then they also own another building across the street from that that they bought last year. And then they also bought a fourth building in 2020 that they've been using as kind of a staging ground for the construction project.
Anymore?
How many buildings are we talking?
So that's four buildings, and then they have all this
yeah.
leased space.
Okay.
So it's a lot. It's like their square footage of office space right in that couple block radius is about the same as Goldman's for the entirety of North and South America.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, wow. Well, of course, this coincides with the push to return to office, right? Do we have any details on kind of what exactly will entice employees to really kind of spend all that time there and stay there and potentially, maybe enjoy their work a little bit as they spend maybe like 12, 13-hour days?
So Jamie Dimon has definitely been at the forefront of the kind of like RTO push. So I think for a lot of people inside JPMorgan, that issue is kind of in the past because they've been going to the office most, if not all the time, for a while now. But this new building has a lot of things that will entice someone to want to be in the office, right? So they have like a wellness center that has a huge fitness center. They have a pub.
Okay.
For after hours, or is this all day long?
I don't know. I need to go do some investigative journalism on that.
Investigative reporting and get back to
on
us.
the ground reporting for sure.
But yeah, so it's, and also, I mean, just all the kind of bells and whistles that come with a new building, right? Like, it's cool to, like, we are blessed to be in a cool headquarters ourselves, and it's nice to be in a cool building. So there's that.
I mean, and I used to cover commercial real estate for the print side before moving over to TV, and still keeping eyes on the real estate market. But we talk so much about the Class A buildings, right? You mentioned Bloomberg. We talk about JPMorgan. And as you're thinking about the RTO push, of course, they're really targeting these newer buildings. They're either building ground up or they're occupying one, renovating it. You talked about the things that are really luring these people into the office. Are there enough bodies to make up all the square footage that you're talking about? They have enough people?
Yeah, so they have
demand is there.
More than 17,000 corporate employees. So that doesn't include people who work in branches in New York. So that was part of the thing when it was more a question of like hot desking and things like that. They were saying, oh, maybe we can fit 14,000 people in this new building, and then they brought that number down to about 10,000 as they required more and more people to come back to the office more frequently.
Are they one of the banks that are doing the non-competes for a lot of their junior employees coming in saying you have to sign this, you can't work anywhere else? Is JPMorgan one of those?
Like for the private equity jobs?
Right.
Yeah, they were at the forefront of that too.
And there you go.
Jamie, the CEO, is very vocal. So they find themselves on the forefront of a lot of Wall Street
So you want to have a
trends.
nice office that you can keep people in for sure if they're coming in day to day.
And spend 12 to 13 hours in.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. But also, I mean, it's worth pointing out that, and our story today kind of dug into this, that Jamie has been CEO of JPMorgan for almost 20 years now. He's built it into the biggest and most profitable U.S. bank by far. And so this new building, but also this campus that's in the works, are really kind of a physical manifestation of that dominance. And I think, I can't think of any other corporate campus type thing in the middle of Manhattan. So it seems kind of unusual in that way and kind of unprecedented.
Yeah, well, it's certainly a testament to just how much it has set itself apart for sure. But yeah, I mean, speaking of how much it has set itself apart, I mean, we're going to get the most recent look at that next week because all these big banks are going to be reporting to kick off earnings season. So I want to ask Sally, last season the theme was a trading bonanza because of all the market volatility that we saw in the second quarter. Is that the case this time around as well?
It looks like Wall Street is again going to do pretty well from this persistent volatility. And certainly with JPMorgan, we're expecting trading to be up from a year ago, and investment banking is also supposed to be up from a year ago as well. And in terms of investment banking and deal making, Dimon said yesterday that in an interview that animal spirits are starting to come back. We're seeing deal making pick up, which was something long awaited and long anticipated after Trump came back in, sort of promising this more friendly regulatory regime. And indeed, we did have a big bank merger just announced with Fifth Third agreeing to buy Comerica. And yes, indeed, the continued volatility is likely to also help traders across Wall Street as well. But then there's the other side to earnings for banks like JPMorgan, which have big, vast consumer businesses, how the consumer is holding up. And what's been very interesting out of earnings in recent quarters is that the consumer, despite all of these very complex and difficult pressures and forces, like persistent inflation, the consumer still seems to be holding up. And in fact, again, Dimon said yesterday that consumers are fine now. And I think he noted that both high and low income consumers are still spending, but he did warn that a recession could happen in 2026 and reiterated his concerns that he's made numerous times that inflation may be slower to come down than we would like.
And of course, we're in conversation with Hannah Levitt and Sally Bakewell. Sally Bakewell leads our coverage here in the U.S. in New York office of finance, and Hannah, you closely cover JPMorgan. So Sally, I want to continue on with you about the theme of the U.S. consumer here. I mean, is this any sort of rhetoric that you're also hearing from other banks that you guys are keeping an eye on? Is this Jamie Dimon alone, or is this something that we're hearing widespread?
It's definitely across the board for the bigger Wall Street banks. They have seldom been able to find pressure on the consumer. It's been quite puzzling for it honestly, it's been puzzling for us. It sometimes sounds puzzling for them, but I think there's a broader trend that's been happening since the financial crisis, which is that a lot of these bigger banks, they haven't been lending as much to lower income consumers, which probably are starting to see the strain. And so that probably explains why consumers are still looking in sort of rude health at the moment for most of the banks.